Hi guys, it's Gracie from Small Worlds Big Adventures, building community through gaming. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the figures we use for our tabletop gaming and kind of how our characters and our players have influenced the different miniatures we've used. Now, we are very privileged and maybe a little bit obsessed. So we do have a ton of both metal, resin, and other types of miniatures. We definitely have some that are painted, and we also have plenty for the wall of shame. And while it's definitely easy to just find a model and use it as a monster or a character, sometimes stuff that our players do or their characters do can make you want to do something a little extra special. So we're gonna walk you through some of those. Now, to start with, this is one I DIY'd. In our campaign, our little group is known as Rasvakana, which I'm sure is a horrible translation into grease chicken, which comes from several inside jokes within the campaign. But one of those, our cleric used a spiritual weapon and said that it looked like one of those little birds on a stick that like poke into the water and kind of like this. Boop. And so we wanted to give him something for that. So, and this isn't a model we found. I actually had to hunt for a while. So this is actually the Hey Hey chicken from Moana. I stole it from a toy pack. And not stole it, like I bought it. And then like I took the chicken and gave the rest of the toy to my friend's daughter. And then this is just like a little wooden cube. And of course we have like a little race thing. But had they not decided to have a chicken on a stick be their spiritual weapon, we wouldn't have made this. And then I painted it in silver and gold so it looked a little more spirity. Next up, this figure we had picked beforehand. She is our cook on our ship. We have a ship in our campaign, and her name is Izug. But she just got a giant pot of gumbo, and it has turned into this ongoing joke with our players that everything goes in the gumbo. So yeah, it is this ongoing joke, and the pot just fits in real well. That when she's there, whether it is one of our fallen foes or a rat on the ship, everything goes in the gumbo. Now, this next one is actually a character from one of our players' backgrounds. She has this whole family, and we went to like her hometown, and of course we needed figures for that. But little did we know, we the players, not the DM, but her brother is cursed. And so with that, we not only needed a model for him, we also needed a model of his cursed figure form. And then being someone who gets some of the information, but not all of it, I tried to paint them so that they mirrored each other. So this is Radiance. He is a tiefling, very moral, pious guy, just ethical through and through. He is also the crush of half of our crew, which is another fun thing. So he is painted to the specifications of how our player described him. But he is also he is a werewolf. He's cursed to be a werewolf. So we have his werewolf form. We made his fur look similar to how his armor did. He has the same matching bluey, glowy eyes. And you can see the horns are the same on both. So those are the two forms he gets to play in. So I think we did a fairly good job of matching them. And he turned out to be a NPC we keep around. He's tagging along with us so that we can hopefully help him break his curse. We're a very basic player group, and like half of us have curses, so it's a common theme. Now, this last one is probably my favorite, like, player influenced miniature we've brought to the table. And it actually kind of spawned from the same storyline where Radiance came up. But we did this like Founders Day, a bunch of events, and one of the events was you had to like catch the pig, and I like muddy pig. And for that we just had a traditional pig. This very cute guy was painted by one of our players, AJ. Frankly, like, some of these are painted by me, some are painted by my son, but honestly, they are far better at painting than I am. They did such a good job. Now you may be thinking like, well, okay, you made a pig for a thing. Well, we ended up making something else in relation to that. So our druid, during the like pig catch, decided to wild shape into that pig to kind of skew the game. And I forget who won, but whoever won that won the award of like the Queen's Lace, which was just a fancy name for the pig. But later, either that session or next session, they wanted a wild shape into a boar, and our player was like, what if I look like just a much bigger version of that pig? And Scott, our DM, is always game for some shenanigans, and so he was like, of course. We had to stop mid-fight, and so between that session and the next session, we decided that we wanted AJ to have a more accurate representation than just any old pig if he was going to look like that specific pig. So Scott found the cutest little like pig model, I think, on my mini factory. And then we zhuzhed it up a bit. And so that is how this creature came to be. As you can see, it's much bigger than the original, because when wild shaped, AJ would be the size of a wild boar. But we tried to match its cuteness. And then as a reference to the Queen's Lace, we just added a little piece of lace. It doesn't get played with all that much, because there are other better animals to wild shape into. But man, when we brought this guy to the table, AJ's face, the team's face, they were all just like in love with it. I think everyone wanted to fight to bring it home. And I know that most DMs incorporate what their players do in some way or the other to either the story or the props they bring to the table. But it's one of our favorite things. There's nothing more exciting than seeing your players find something new, see something that you created in reference to something that they've done. And it can really add a lot to the engagement in the game, and then also how much your players value their time at the table. So I definitely encourage you, whether it's figures like this or drawing up paper ones or things like that, if your players give you inspiration, try to bring that to the table. But those are just some of our miniatures that we've painted and found to use because of things our players did. If you want to see more of our models or how we paint and prep them, go ahead and hit subscribe. If you liked our chubby pig or our cook who puts everything in the gumbo, go ahead and hit that like button. I'd love to hear more about the different things you do to engage your players. So if you want to drop a comment, we'll definitely be responding. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.